So I'm sure that at some point or another, many of you have wondered what you specifically can do to improve the environment or maybe the economy as well. So what if I told you that that solution is just as easy as filling your garden with beautiful, native, locally bought plants from a local greenhouse or nursery? Buying local, number one, helps out your community, and number two, promotes recovery from damage caused by non-native species. I've taken 3 horticulture classes, including landscape design and greenhouse, and I took those in high school, so I know a little bit about what it takes to create and maintain a safe, sustainable garden. During this speech, we will look at the lack of native plants and overabundance of non-native plants that pose a threat to our environment. Locally bought plants are usually native to our specific region, so like if you buy them from a local area, they're usually native to this specific place and tend to flourish without the use of harmful chemicals like fertilizers and stuff, and they don't disrupt the other plants around them, unlike invasive species do. Invasive plant species, if left uncontrolled, can negatively affect our environment, the economy, and sometimes even our health. So now that we've established these key ideas, let's move on to the main problem, and that is invasive plant species. According to rrisc.org, invasive species are the cause of 20% of species extinction since 1600. They've also been known to destroy entire ecosystems as well as plant and animal relationships. One example of this is the kudzu, the green vine. It covers everything it grows on like a blanket and usually ends up smothering every other plant in its path. Another example is the wisteria, the purple plant. It's basically the same thing, except it is also poisonous and can be very harmful to pets. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website states that non-native species can alter habitat so much that it actually affects our natural resources. For example, weeds like leafy spurge cover land and make it harder to sell. In the United States, we spend at least over $130 billion a year trying to control these plants. These species can also negatively affect human health. About half of the poisonous plants in the eastern United States are invasive and have been known to reshape entire ecosystems and could actually cause wildfires. Clearly, these non-native species pose a huge threat to our environment, and which in turn threatens our economy and possibly our health and safety. So what do we do to stop this invasion? Something we can all do for our own gardens is buy native plants from our local nurseries. Buying from a local nursery will not only reintroduce native plants to our environment, but it will also support the local economy. Buying local supports your nurseries and allows them to bring in more plants that you love, which helps you out. Going to your local nursery is super easy. Just go talk to an employee about what plant would work best for your environment. Pick out some starter plants that are easy to maintain and will add some diversity to your garden. If possible, find some native plants that you can use in cooking or decoration. Plant your new friends and watch your garden grow. The more native plants, the better. Buying native plants is the best way to combat the rising problem of invasive species in America. So now that we've gone over how to start your own native garden, let's look at some of the best benefits of having one. So picture this. You go into a nursery in your town, you buy some native plants for your garden. You plant them. Eventually your garden is full of biodiversity and is almost fully sustainable by itself. You continue to buy any future plants from that nursery and your garden keeps getting better. In buying from that nursery, you've helped your garden and your community. And now that the nursery has more business, then more native plants are being bought and planted all around your local area. You've just unknowingly created an amazing change in your community and your environment. Planting non-native plants might look pretty, but the result it has on your garden is it not? Invasive species in your garden will most likely end up smothering your other plants. There's always the chance that invasive species can spread outside of the garden as well, which is never a good thing. The best way to keep a healthy garden is to plant native species. So, in this speech, we have covered the topic of invasive species posing a threat to native and other species, how to obtain local and native plants, and how to keep invasive species from spreading. The Ozark landscape supply down by, it's like by Walmart and Sonic. Yeah. It's open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can call and ask what plants you can use for your garden specifically, because they have a good idea about what will grow well around in this area. Turn your garden into a beautiful, naturally sustained paradise. Call today and ask what kind of plants would work best for your specific landscape. These invasive species, although pretty, tend to be bad news all around, so remember to shop locally and plant native.